So we're going to start standing. So you guys are all perfect right now. And then we're going to start with our strap. Okay. So let's, we're just going to start first with just some free movement of the arms. So we're going to take the strap wide and we're just going to start with some movement side to side. And then take a few of them diagonally front and back. And then try that the other side. And then action like you're in a kayak or and you're just paddling side to side. And let's go the other direction. And then we'll rotate. Try to keep the feet stationary. So the rotation's coming at the waist. Okay, we'll give the arms a break for a moment. We're going to come towards our feet. So loop it around one foot. It doesn't really matter which one because we're going to do both. So loop it around one. If you want to hold anything to take balance out of the mix, that's fine because we want to do more range of motion. So let's just start with some lifts. Kind of forward, out to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Just all these. You can even go behind you. You can cross it maybe a little bit. And as your tissues start to open up a little bit more, make it a little bit bigger. And then let's switch sides. Okay, we'll go back to our first side. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to make a circle. And eventually trying to make that circle really big. And going the other direction. Like I said, if balance is really an issue, hold on to something so we can do, you can focus more on the range of motion versus trying to stay upright. Now let's switch to the other side. And we'll reverse it. And then letting your feet come down. We'll take the strap again to upper body. Hands are going to be really wide. We're going to do a sweep behind the head and then come down. Then once you're behind the head, stay behind the head and do a little movements here, maybe even like one up, one down. And then we'll take it in front of us. We're going to cross it, cross our strap. And what you're going to do is you're going to push your strap away. So you're going to round through the upper back. Your shoulder blades will pull apart. And then we're going to pull it in upright. So round a little bit and then come together. You can even give the shoulder blades a pinch as you bring the elbows back in. Okay, one more time. And then we're gonna move our arms like a steering wheel. And I want you to cross your elbows. So one on top, then the other. Okay, then from here, we're gonna go down towards the thighs, up, bend the elbows, bring it behind your head, and come down. As you do the action behind your head, try not to drop your head forward, but keep your head up nice and tall. Okay, now let's add on to that. So we're gonna come up, we're gonna go behind the head, and then we're gonna come all the way down, give your knees a really big bend, and then from here, we're gonna slide the strap up our body, come up tall. Reach up, behind the head, reach out as you go down, and then roll and slide the strap up. We're gonna add one more thing to it. So what we're gonna do is we'll take it behind the head and then we'll take it up. Let's add a side lean and then we'll come down towards the toes, roll it up. So that'll be the thing that we're gonna add, that side bend. Okay, one more time through this flow. And all the way up. Okay, you can take your strap down for now. We're gonna allow the right foot to come forward, the left foot's gonna come back. It's gonna be a very short stance, so maybe only a foot behind your heel and your toe. Hips are gonna face to the front here. And we're just gonna take and come halfway forward and then stand right back up. In this movement, the pelvis is tilting. So the pelvis is going to tilt forward and then its pelvis will come up tall. The pelvis is actually what's moving. And then because the spine is attached to it, it's moving the spine. Okay, now let's come halfway down. Hold it. Try to take the roundedness out of your back. So you might have to come up out of this a little bit. Think of your hips moving back, head lengthening forward. Okay, now lift up. Just rotate your feet around however you need to do that, or step the other foot forward. And same thing, halfway forward and come up. Okay, now again, we'll come halfway forward. Let's hold that. And then we'll come up. Okay, what we're gonna do next is you're gonna take this back foot. You're gonna come to tiptoe, heel down. So just a little rock here. And then eventually we're gonna flip it. So curling our toes back, get to the ball of the foot, down. remember which leg is back, okay? And we're gonna do this leg again. What you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your yoga mat and you're gonna roll it up about halfway. And the foot that we were just working, that's going to, you're gonna put the ball of the foot on the mat, heel will be down, step the other foot forward. And maybe inch the front leg forward a little bit more. Maybe there's like 18 inches apart. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna lean forward, come up, keep that back heel on the ground. All right, now come halfway forward. We're gonna hold straight spine here. This back foot, what you're gonna find is that your heel will turn in. I want you to turn your heel straight back. And then if you want to, you can stay here or round all the way down. Let your forehead come down towards your knee. And then we'll bend that front knee and we'll bring ourselves all the way up. Okay, so opposite leg is gonna go back. And then we'll start with coming to the tiptoes, press that heel down. Okay, now let's add that flip. So the top side of the foot gets a little stretched. Try to get the ball of the foot connected before you drop the heel. All right, now we'll take that leg back on our rolled up mat, other leg forward. Then we'll do those half bends and lift up. And with our next one, we'll stay forward holding. And if you want to add the release down, go for it. And then we'll come all the way up. Before you unroll your mat, we're going to do both feet, and maybe you want to even add a little bit more height. You can do that. So again, ball of the foot is on your mat, heels are down. And we're going to start with just a halfway bend here and come up. Okay, let's come halfway forward, hold. So my hips are back a little bit. So I'm gonna move my hips forward to get my legs a little bit more vertical, which will intensify the elongation of the back side of the leg. The shoulders are relaxed here. And let's come up. Switch your feet just a little bit. Turn your toes out slightly. And we'll do the same thing. We'll come halfway down and then right back up. Okay, let's come halfway down. We'll hold it here. And again, I notice my hips are back a little. I'm gonna lean, kind of pull my hips forward slightly. All right, releasing, you can unroll your mat. You're gonna grab your strap again. Okay, so we're gonna do wide arms, and we're gonna do like a big matador's cape, big circles around the body. Okay, keep going that same direction, but allow the elbows to bend. So bending the elbows. Now keep going the same direction, but don't bend the elbows. Or try not to bend. It's different. Okay, let's go the other direction. Don't worry about what the elbows are doing, just move. Okay, now let's try it with a significant bend of the elbow. And now straight arms. Okay, last time around. You're gonna take your strap in your right hand, and you're gonna bring your right hand behind your head. Left arm's gonna sneak up your back, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna transfer it. And then you're gonna switch left arm behind the head, and then you're gonna transfer it. So you're gonna just flow it side to side. The strap will kind of flap all over, but hopefully you can deal with it. So each time, try to sneak the hand that's behind your back up towards the head a little bit more. Okay, now the next time that you come behind your back, hold it, walk the hands towards each other, and then add a little bit of tension. So pull up and down, holding here. Try to bring the head back a little bit, spine lifting up. And then let's release. We'll switch it to the other side. Again, add that tension and then head lifting. And then we will release. Okay, we're going to transition down onto the floor. If again, you're finding yourself rounded back, sneak a blanket or sneak something underneath your hips to get your pelvis in alignment better. So we want to be tall spine here instead of rounded. We're going to take the strap around our right foot. So keeping that tall spine, we're essentially going to do kind of the same thing we did standing. We're just going to start moving it all around. So bring it up out to the side, come across. The whole goal though is to not round it, don't tuck your tailbone. And then you can make circles with this leg. And we'll circle the other way. And then set that leg down, switch to the other side. And make circles. And reverse it. And then we'll take it down. Okay, we're gonna bend our left knee. And then from here, turn your torso to be over the right leg. We're gonna start with hinging from the hips. So again, same thing that we were doing standing. We're gonna tilt our pelvis forward and then come up. So reason why we're focusing on the pelvis is we're not doing this. We're not doing like a cat-cow. We're rounding and dropping our shoulders forward. We're trying to keep the spine long as we come forward. Okay, now let's come forward. Let your hands fall wherever they do. And we're just gonna stay here for probably 4 breaths. Just letting gravity and breath pull us down. And let's slow down that breath. So if you're like, oh, I'm already done with my 4, let's slow it down a little bit. So each breath is about 10 to 12 seconds long. And then we'll come up. Let's switch to the other leg. You can center your torso over it, and we'll bend and come up. And now with that next one, let's stay. And again, 4 or 5 deep breaths, taking anywhere from 10 to 12 seconds. And then let's come up. Okay, both legs straight, toes up. Same thing, we'll hinge forward and come up. And now we'll stay forward. We'll take 3 more breaths here. And now as we come up, we're going to take that right leg, angle it out a bit, bend the left knee. Okay, we'll turn again towards the right leg. So hopefully we're in a little bit more of an open position. And again, we'll come down and up. And now for that next one, let's hold. As you do that, take your left arm and reach it forward so that we're getting a stretch from the left hip. So the left hip's got to stay on the ground, but we'll get a stretch all of this whole left side of the body as it reaches beyond our toes. And then we'll come up. Let's switch legs. And again, we'll come into that fold and lift. And now we'll hold. Again, we're going to try to reach that right arm forward. And then we'll come up. Instead of having the legs together, we're going to let the toes roll out to the side. So keep the heels together, but kind of roll the pinky toes down. And again, let's do a few leans forward and back. And then let's stay forward. As we come up, separate the feet and now drop the big toes in. So the knees will rotate in a little bit as well. Again, we'll do some bends forward and come up. And then next breath, we'll take and hold here. And then we'll come up. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. We're going to start with the hands open really wide and take your knees back a little bit. So we're not in tabletop, we're extended a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to keep feet apart and we're going to slide the hips back and come forward. And your hips won't reach all the way down to the ground, and that's okay. Okay, now we're going to turn the hands out a little bit. Thumbs are going to face forward. We're going to do that same action. And then see if you can turn the hands out even more. Same thing. All right, now we're going to take and turn the fingers forward. Let's come into child's pose. And what we're going to do here is, as the elbows settle, we're just going to work on flipping palms up and down. now we're going to flip the palms up. As you do that, draw your elbows in towards each other just a little bit, and then soften the forehead down. And next breath, palms flipping down. Coming up, we're going to take the right leg up in front of us, but we're going to add movement right away. So we're going to rock back, toes come up, bend here. If you haven't guessed, we're focusing hamstrings a lot, and then shoulders. Okay, so when you move back, so when you come back like this, watch how the hip goes out to the side. So when you come forward and you go back, this leg should be completely vertical instead of popping your hip out. Okay, now as we come back, we're gonna hold that and you're gonna rotate your toes in and out. As much as you can, try not to hunch and kind of dump into your shoulders. So you need to kind of come up on your knuckles or even up onto your fingertips to get your shoulders back a little. All right, now release the toes either in or out, wherever your tightest position is. And then we're going to take this leg back. We're not going to switch to the other side right away. What we're going to do is we're going to take our hands over to the right. We're going to walk the hands out, keep your hips high, and then start to settle your upper body down. Begin to let the left armpit, shoulder sink towards the floor. Okay, walking the hands in, we're going to go over to the left side now. And then we'll walk it in. Now let's switch over to that left leg being our mover. So left leg forward. And then again, we'll start to come back and into that lunge. And then let's stay toes facing up, try to elongate the spine. Watch if your hip is leaning, pull that hip back in. Do some rotations of the toes. Now hold in a new position. We'll release. We're going to go into a tricep stretch with child's pose. So I'm going to show you two different ways that you can do it. If you guys have like a pillow or something, you could use it in it. So the palms of the hands are going to come behind the back of your head, elbows resting down. So that could be one way. Or if you have, like I said, a pillow or something, You can rest your elbows on it. You can even do this on a couch or a couch or a chair where you put your elbows on it and then let your head hang down towards the floor. So you're going to pull your elbows towards your ears and then inch your elbows forward a little bit. Again, we'll go into those slow breaths. So it should take us about 10 to 12 seconds again to do one breath cycle. Let's do one more full breath. And then we'll bring ourselves up out of this. We're going to come down onto our back. Make sure that you have your strap nearby. We'll start coming into bent knees to begin with. And when you get there, you can add some sway of the knees side to side. Let your lower back relax or pull the knees in towards the chest. Any of those. Okay, let's let our feet come down if they were up. So left foot's going to stay on the floor. We're going to take the strap around the bottom of the right foot. And we want to have the right leg completely straight. So move it away from you and get that leg as straight as you can. And then we'll just start with some movement, just kind of like how we've always been doing before we go into hold. So just moving it around, up to the side, towards the head. Maybe making some circles. If you're doing the circles, go the other way. Okay, so now let's take the toes towards the face. Again, leg is long. We're going to really watch our pelvis here. So what we don't want to do is tuck our tailbone under and flatten out our lower back. So try to stay in neutral here. Again, we'll do about 3 breaths or so here. And then let's take this straight leg across the bent knee, but our hips stay on the floor. So we got to keep that right hip anchored down and then push the foot away. Let's take this out to the side, and you might have to just let your left hand go here. And maybe you want to move this leg down a little bit or pull it up so you can add some movement here too. And then anywhere along this spot, just hold. We'll bring the leg straight up, straighten out the left leg. Your strap's going to go in the left arm, and we're just going to start with bringing the leg all the way across and then right back up. So now we're adding a twist of the lower back here. If you can, try to keep your shoulders on the floor. Okay, now let's take that leg across, and it may touch the ground, it may not, and you might not even want it to touch the ground because you might want to do little movements up and down. And if you just want to hold, you can do that. And then we'll bend that knee and just pull the knee in towards the chest as you come onto your back. And then we'll switch to both knees being in the bent position. Okay, let's take left foot. Start with movement, however that looks. Maybe adding some circles. Going the other way. And then we'll come leg straight up, leg straight. Again, make sure we have a little curvature in our lower back. So in all these stretches, we've been focusing so much on lower half of the body. I want you to notice what's happening with your shoulders and neck. So let your shoulders relax. Try to elongate the back of your neck. So I'm going to prop my head up just to help with elongating the back of my neck a little bit here. And then let's take this leg towards the right knee. And then let's take it out to the side. And again, you can just hold or move. And then as we bring that foot up, opposite leg's going to come long, switch your strap hold, and we'll rotate across and come onto our back. Okay, now let's hold that across. And again, maybe you want to move the leg up and down here. And then if you were adding movement, how about we just hold now? And then we'll bend that knee. You can let go of your strap, center yourself. And if you want to bring knees into the chest and do a little rocking, go for it. And then we're going to take legs straight up. We're going to draw the toes down towards us. If you want to, you could also take your strap and just kind of have the strap support you in drawing the toes down, but you don't need to either. So just pressing the heels up, trying to get a straight leg as much as you can. So the tendency would again to be to bend the knees. And then start to pull the legs towards your face, flatten out your back, maybe even grab behind the legs, or if you're using a strap like I am, just using the arm muscles to pull the legs towards your face. And so both exhale, see if you can again pull the legs a little bit closer. So we did this essentially, we did it though seated, where our legs were on the floor. So this is the same thing as a seated forward fold. We're just doing it reclined. All right, let's take 2 more breaths. And then we'll release the legs, bend the knees, take them down. Bring the feet as wide as your mat, and then let the knees collapse towards one another. All right, so from here, let's just do some big sweeping movements of the arms. Bend the elbows a little bit, open up the hands really wide. Take and cross the arms up above you. Notice like some big circles of the arms going all different directions, kind of making up your own pattern here. Okay, we're going to allow the legs to come all the way down towards the floor. And then we're going to take the arms up overhead. Palms are going to face towards the ceiling. And for right now, try not to set your palms down onto the ground. So just going to keep your arms suspended. Work the fingertips away. And as you do that, I want you to let your rib cage settle down. The more the rib cage can settle down towards the floor, the more of a stretch you're going to feel into the armpits, front sides of the shoulders. Now, instead of the arms being straight overhead, angle them out just a little bit like a V. Reach to the corners of your room. Now stretch the arms again overhead. As you do that, lift your left leg up, reach your left heel away as the right fingertips stretch away. And then release. Let that right hand rest now, back of the hand rest onto the ground, and the left heel rest. Right leg, pick it up. So stretch opposite. And then relax everything. So let the shoulders relax, back to the hands. Let the chin come down just a little bit. And now we're gonna really focus on breathing with the belly so that we can try to soften our our internal organs. And again, try to soften the ribs down because they're probably still lifted quite a bit. So slow exhalation, maybe even want to take that exhale through your mouth. As you're breathing, let your toes relax, let your thighs soften, fingers relax. And try to allow each breath to now be at least 12 seconds long, maybe even to 15. So as the breath slows down, it starts to slow down our heart. Starts to take and allow our nervous system to let go. So we come into rest and digest instead of fight or flight. And then with your next breath, beginning to move your fingers and toes, you can start to bend your knees. And then trying to roll over onto your side. And then you can bring yourself all the way up. Once you bring yourself up, come into straight legs. And then next exhale, hinge forward a little bit. And maybe this is the farthest you've hinged forward yet today. And if you want to, you can drop your chin towards your chest and let your forehead come down. And then next breath, bring yourselves all the way up. Take one hand down, take the other, reach it across here. Let the bottom elbow bend to intensify the side stretch a little. And then coming up, switch to the other side. And then as we come up, interlock the hands, release the palms away from you, and then sweep up, press the palms up. And then next breath, you can release the hands downward.